I am certainly hearing more people, but I have received messages that not everyone has been getting the links, which is interesting, but please do start sort of engaging on the chat so we can, you know, if you have any questions and stuff as well, we can get it out there. And we'll give it a couple more, we will give it a couple more minutes to wait. And then I can go through the format of these monthly, end of the month Friday sessions. And the reason why I started on this madness, because seriously, it was getting overwhelming for me to be getting messages on LinkedIn, on you know, everywhere. Yes, Emma, thank you. I can see your chats now because I couldn't hear your voice, so this is brilliant. And you know, so I was getting messages on LinkedIn and Facebook and everywhere, and I was so busy, and I am so busy with my startup, my technology business. It was so difficult to get back to everyone one-to-one, and I don't do personal training any. Yes, so I've muted everyone right now, because if there are people joining in, then we don't get the constant pinging. So this should be better. Yes. And so, yeah, I thought this would be the best opportunity to, you know, get some of the group and some of the people that keep asking for certain same things as well to actually get it going. These will be recorded, so I've just put this on recording now. So what we can do is I will then publish it on YouTube and also put some times in case people don't want to go through the whole session. And I'm just getting a lot of pings as well on my phone, as I see through Meetup, where yeah, I think the link people have been struggling with. So next time I'll do something where I can make it easier for people to join in. I might actually put the link somewhere very prominent as well on my Instagram or somewhere, so that makes it easier for people to join in. But so let's get started. It's 5 past, and you know, conscious of the time and the people we've got here. So firstly, thank you so much. And Emma, yes, I know you've been a big sort of support of me. So thank you very much for coming on this webinar. And if you guys want to follow me or spread the word, I am on B Zaveri anywhere. You just Google B Zaveri and you will find me. There's quite a few bits that's going on out there under my name, so you should be able to find me very easily for the future updates and what we do and the follow-up of this webinar as well. The format of these sessions, as I said, there'll be once a month on every last Friday of the month. I'm doing them 3 p.m. London time at the moment because here I'm based here, but whenever I'm traveling as well, I will try and stick to this time so we can, you know, continue these conversations no matter where I am on this planet, which can be a lot of different places depending on the time of the year. So the format will be the 5 to 7 first initial minutes where I will take a key topic and I will talk about it, give my 2 cents on it, and then encourage a debate on it. So, you know, come back with your suggestions. Let's talk about a topic that's very crucial to all of us, right? Thank you. Excellent. And then what we do is we jump onto the questions. So depending on how many people, we can aim to get to as many questions as I can. But I also do have a list of questions that people have sent to me ahead of the time because they couldn't attend this session. So I've picked 3 questions from there as well, which might be useful for everyone, even if they haven't been able to sign up to this, but if they see a video at some other time, they can get this sort of resource. So that should be helpful. And then finally, we'll just close with any sort of end of the session nuggets, so to speak. And, you know, they won't always come from me. They will come from the participants as well, because the participants that join us are amazing. Everyone has, you know, a wealth of experience, personally, professionally, in many ways. And that's why I want to encourage everyone to put their foot forward and really chat about what's going on in their lives. So without wasting any more time, I've done the intro. Let's just jump into today's topic. So today's topic is really about knowing the difference between real confidence and career confidence. So does anyone out there have an idea what that means. I've sort of put it out there in terms of what I believe to be the real confidence versus just the career confidence. And I want to discuss this topic for a few reasons. So does anyone have any ideas on what they see as real confidence versus a career confidence? So let's give it 30 seconds to see if you want to type up your responses. Emma, come on, tell me, what do you think is the difference between real confidence and career confidence? Tell me your thoughts. 15 more seconds. Right, so let me tell you, real confidence for any individual is usually based on 4 key things in our life: personal, professional, financial, and friends and family. So anyone that thinks that friends and family is part of personal is wrong. Clearly, because personal is person, you individually. Yes, absolutely, Emma. Like you say, real confidence is confidence in myself as a human being, as an individual, man, woman, child, whatever, as an individual. That's personal. Professional is work, career, work, right? That's where it sort of comes together. Financial could be personal and professional confidence, but it is part of the real confidence picture that you live in. And the reason financial is so important, as human beings, is because all of our systems and politics and processes, etc., work around finances, and money makes the world go round. So yes, it is important, and it forms part of our confidence, right? And career confidence, you're right, is the confidence in the bit of confidence in your ability to do your work efficiently. Absolutely, right? And then family and friends. So when we ask people, who are you? Who are you, Emma? Or who are you, Bhumi? Usually we start with, oh, I am a job title and a family background. We don't start with who are you, who am I? We start with what we do, career confidence. So what is the difference there again? So when I say, who are you? I don't want to hear what you do. So if your answer to the question, who are you, is always what you do, starting with your job title, starting with the person you're married to, starting with your career history, then you lack certain clarification and understanding of who you are as an individual. So a few years ago, when I was asked, who are you? I'd be like, oh, I am a qualified consultant and a career counselor, blah, 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 blah. And then, because I was talking to this career counselor, she stopped me there and she said, yeah, who is Bhumi? I'm not asking about what makes you, which is career and everything else, but who is Bhumi? And it really sort of put me in a corner, because I was like, well, I don't know. I'm a girl, I guess. And I was in my mid-20s and I was petrified by the question. So this is why I really want to raise this, So when you think about your confidence, who are you, is a very important question. And the answer is not what you do. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is, how do you define your confidence yourself? Do you feel arrogant certain times and you're quite aware of it? Or even if you're not aware of it, do other people around you think you're arrogant? Or do you lack it altogether? So these are 2 very important things as well in trying to understand your confidence level, right? And again, we're talking about real confidence. And I'll come to helping you understanding each and every part of this. But first, I want to tackle these key questions. So how do you define your confidence? If someone comes up to you and says, wow, that's a brilliant, wow, that's a beautiful dress, you go, oh, thank you, yeah, I found it at a discount store. You don't have confidence in yourself, because the only thing you had to do at the time is be happy someone's appreciated your dress and say thank you. And so we're not able to appreciate a compliment is a big example of not having confidence in ourselves. The other spectrum of it, the arrogance, is when someone says, wow, that's a beautiful dress. And you're like, yeah, I know, I always look beautiful. That's arrogance, clearly. You don't want to be on that spectrum either, you know? But you don't even want to be on the spectrum where you underplay your achievements, your compliments, and, you know, everything else that you're doing. Am I making sense? Am I making sense? Yeah. So the confidence is really, in this matter, the ability to be grateful and to accept, you know, compliments, and to be able to accept positive feedback, to be able to accept gifts, to be able to expect achievements happily and gracefully. That is true confidence. The third thing is, what do you always talk about in your life generally when you're having conversations? What are the key things that you're always focused on and talking about? Is it about your work, career? If majority of your conversations, personally and professionally and with friends or anywhere or in your mind, is about work, then yeah, you've got a challenge, because all you're thinking about is work. And work does take up majority of our time, but it shouldn't really be like that. So really try and assess what is the majority of your conversations around. Is it around your personal life, you personally? I go to the gym, I do this, I've been drinking enough water. Is it you? Is it professional? Is it financial conversations? I've got bills to pay, I've got mortgages, I've got rents, I can't manage my car payments, etc. What are the conversations around? Depending on what is the majority time, the topic of your conversation is usually also your anchor to good or bad confidence levels, right? And the reason I say this is because if you're either too confident in something, you will only keep talking about it. And a very good example is people that are constantly taking selfies. Either they're too confident about themselves and they constantly want to indulge in themselves, or they have a whole host of lack of confidence. And so they want to keep on proving themselves to other people. So understand your anchors and understand how are those anchors helping you? Are they helping you? Are they hindering you? Because that's very important. And that's important because of the next step is where we're trying to understand what is happening with our confidence levels, right? And this problem is such a huge problem because we have seen very, very successful people get into depression and get anxiety and then lose career track and lose families because of confidence-related challenges. So this is so important. The fourth point now is understanding the heart and the essence of your confidence. So what I want you to do as an exercise, right, is put down these 4 things into 4 different sections and then write down basically where do you stand. So make a list of things that make you confident or hinder your confidence under these 4 sections, right? And so you can take this away as an exercise and follow up with me on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you like, and let me know what you did and what the result came out, because I would love to know, right, what happened there. But what I really want you to do is literally, as I said, put personal number 1, professional number 2, create 4 sections, 4 quadrants, and list the things that make you confident in that section, and also list the things that do not make you confident in that section. Once you make those lists, you will naturally come to a place where you will have maybe 5 items under personal that make you confident, that are positive, and 1 item that hinders your confidence. So you've got a total of 6 items there. In professional, you may come out with 8 things that make you really confident, positive, but you might also come out with 6 things that really hinder your confidence, right? So the list, yes, it's personal, professional, financial, friends and family. Friends and family is the last one. Yeah, I think we've got some lighting from the natural lighting. So the last one, did you get that one, Emma? That's friends and family, family and friends. And the reason family and friends is not the same as personal is because personal is me individually as a human being. Friends and family are around me. Yes, they're part of my personal, professional, and financial spectrum. Okay? Yeah, makes sense? So when you make those lists, then you can come up with, actually in personal, I only had 6 things to talk about in total. In professional, I had, 15 things to talk about. In financial, I only had 3 things to talk about. And in family and friends, I had 9 things to talk about. So let's say if you come with an assessment with something like that, then you see clearly number 15. So what gives you the most confidence is your career, as an example, right? If it came out with family and friends, then what really gives you confidence is family, friends. And what we're trying to aim to achieve by the end of this exercise is to have equal number everywhere, right? So if we think of each spectrum, each quadrant as 25% to give us the whole 100% holistic, who am I, and my surroundings, and my happiness, and my confidence, then we want to ensure that all of these have equal weightage in our life. And all of these score equally. And when they don't score equally, you can then see, I really, really need financial help. So then go out and get that help. Or I'm scoring again very, very low on personal. So who do I need to go to talk to? You know, I have come from an abusive background because of my father, and my mom and my elder sister suffered more than I think I can even imagine in that sense. But so you know, if you come from a background like that, then you may want to go and get therapy and get help. There are people like Marissa Peer that I really like to follow, because something that she says is put it on your mirror that says, I am enough. Look at it every day and say that to yourself, I am enough. And so if your confidence level personally is way below everything else in your life, then you need to focus on yourself. You need to tell yourself that you are enough. And that's the whole difference between real confidence and career confidence, right? If the score, by the end of the score, if you figure out that all you have is professional confidence, then you need to start getting help and start looking at things, you know, start self-development programs and personal development programs, or get financial help, or talk to family and friends. How are we doing for that? Does that help? Does that make sense? I'm sure I could keep talking about this all day long, but I do want to move on to Q&As. We've got some really, really interesting questions that I received. Yeah? So if you guys want to start thinking about the questions you have for your career, confidence, etc., do that. But let me start with these 3 questions that I've picked. So this first question is from a senior manager. She works in Australia in a big bank. And she says that I find it difficult to accept achievements. I am now in a senior manager, hardworking position, and I'm the hardest working person in the room, and yet I struggle. I don't want my leadership or others to know, but I don't know, is this even a problem? So just to reiterate the question and how I understand it. So basically, this woman, she is a senior manager in a big bank in Australia. She has achieved so much in her life. She's the hardest working person in the room, and she struggles with accepting achievements. So getting the thanks, or getting the brilliant work, well done, or getting that promotion, or asking for that bigger paycheck. And I am very confident that she's not the only one that has that problem of accepting your achievement. You know, I have heard and listened to and spoken to so many women, especially. Men seem to have this problem a little less than women. And again, that could be down to our genetics and how we're raised, etc., but it's not fair. And so my advice on this is to literally just start to practice saying thank you. Every time someone appreciates you for an achievement or for something nice that you've done or for how nice you look, just say thank you. And really, really look at your internal dialogue. I call this as an internal dialogue correction system that I work with. And I started doing this about 7-8 years ago, where I literally would find every excuse not to accept my achievements. And if I start listing my achievements, national champion 2 or 3 times in martial arts. Oh God, there's so much. I used to top my school. I came to the UK as a late teenager and I immigrated and dealt with a whole host of things on my own, etc. I'm an MBA in finance. I'm a career counselor. As I start to list down my achievements, there is a whole host of them. But when someone would try and compliment me on them, I would feel like, oh yeah, thank you. I just got lucky. No, I did not get lucky. I worked really, really hard for it. So my advice is start listening and start registering your internal dialogues at this point, right? And so every time someone compliments you, breathe and say thank you. Do not try to come up with anything smart, and do not please underplay your own achievements, because it is absolutely okay for you to be successful, for you to be achieving things. You deserve it. You work hard for it, okay? So we have to almost re-engineer the way our work and our brain works into letting us be happy and accomplished and accept those achievements. Anything else? Would anyone else want to add to this? So, when I post this, she can see it. I don't want to say the name, but she can see that, this was my advice. Anyone else has anything else, or thumbs up? Emma, do you have any question for me? Or should I go to the other one? Go on, tell me what's happening right now with you. Yes, absolutely. She needs to own it. I love that. Emma is absolutely right. She needs to own it, right? And I think the method of how we women especially start to own our achievements is to really start listening to how we talk to ourselves and how do we address ourselves, how much do we respect ourselves, right? So we need to own it. And that comes back to your personal confidence. You've done a whole load in your professional life and you're confident about that, but you have forgotten to look at yourself personally, right? Cool. So the second question I have here, and then I will also look at the questions on the chat. The second one I have here is a graduate from here who says that he's struggling with saying no because he's part of a graduate scheme. And so he's afraid that if he says no, he won't get a permanent employment extension of the contract of the employment, basically. So we know a whole host of people, not just graduates, but men, women, a lot of us, we are people pleasers. And so we have a problem with saying no. And my advice for such cases is that you don't have to point blank say no to anyone for anything, because all activities bring opportunities and bring lessons with it. However, in a work scenario, if you already have your hands full, you need to have an open and honest conversation with your team, with your boss, with your peers, to say, I appreciate this additional work, but here's what I have already on my plate. Plus I've got XYZ from these other people. So considering the time I have, which is usually Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, 35 hours on average, where would you see me fitting this in? And ask for help. You're not saying no. What you are saying is, objectively, bringing them on this journey with you to say, I am full up with work at the moment, so how do you want me to help you, and how can you help me in return? Right? So as a graduate, I can imagine it must be petrifying. I remember when I was a grad, God, I was petrified by one of my big bosses, and I would literally try and hide away from her every time I saw her, but I had no option. I worked directly for her, so I had to sit next to her as well, as much as whenever I was in the office. I used to get petrified by her. But when you sort of start to bring objective conversations around the table and start to involve those bosses, you will be amazed by how supportive they can be, right? Because they actually really appreciate you opening up and you actually saying, you know what, I'm really good at managing my time and I'm doing a whole host of things in addition to my scope of work. So whatever else you're giving me extra, I simply do not have the scope. And if you want me to do it, then what else can I let go? So you're really keeping it objective, scope-driven, goal-driven, and that way you can actually get around any conversation. You know, professionally, yes, mainly because you can keep emotions out of it. Please keep the emotions out of it. And personally as well, you can do this. Especially, I think this trick is very useful even in relationships, when you can just sort of sit down and become objective about things that are bothering, who's going to do the dishes next, sort of conversations. Does that make sense? Is that something that can practically work for you? Yep, I'm waiting to see. We have had a few. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. We have had a few messages already where people are struggling to get on the link, which is such a shame, but I will be posting this on YouTube, and I will also put in the time duration of what questions have been answered, so that way it will help people that couldn't attend, and I will do better with how we promote the link next time. So sorry about that. And then the third question that I have, which is from a guy who says, I don't have confidence issues. Great start. Which I think just the way it has come across is slightly arrogant. So I will put it out there because I'm honest. But let's go through the question. Says, I don't have confidence issues. I just have time management issues. As I find I spend a lot more time at work, and my partner, she has a more creative and flexible lifestyle, so she doesn't understand how the career in corporates work. So we all, from time to time, yes, just make a conscious effort. Absolutely, Emma. And I was just going to say, we all from time to time have to give a little bit more time and effort to this part of our life than that part, and or this part of our life than that part, right? We all have to juggle. But you have to, as I said, this is about a journey. Your life is a journey. You have to bring your partner along with you on that journey and explain to her why your career demands you to have additional hours at work and what are the reasons behind it. We human beings sometimes make decisions based on a million things that we are influenced by that even we are not aware of, which is where our subconscious brain makes a lot of our decisions without us even knowing, or unconscious brain, they say. So just become very conscious if that is happening. Now, I'm not a relationship advisor, so I can't say go and get help, which I should actually, because it sounds like you need to maybe come down to her level as well and try and understand what's going on. And she probably needs to come up a little bit to your level and try and understand what's going on. But professionally, what I think is that professionally as well, if you're on a very ambitious career track, you have your own business, it's a different story. You will end up working 6-7 days a week sometimes. I do 24/7. I have been for a long time. Not 24/7, literally, I do sleep. But we do end up doing crazy hours, and in those cases, we only end up attracting the right kind of people and sticking it out with the right kind of people. What I have noticed is that since I started on my startup journey, I've literally had to shed off a lot of that weight and people that were weighing me down because we just weren't in the right brain capacity and the wavelength, right? So even that happens, and that's not a wrong thing or a bad thing. So I'm not telling you to go dump someone. Please don't take it that way. But what I am saying is make a conscious effort. Like Emma said, just make a conscious effort. Bring the person, you know, on your journey, make them understand, try and understand them. And professionally, try and sort out your time management. Why can't you finish your ambitious career plan, especially if you're in a job, within the given Monday to Friday time and hours? Why do you need to slog a lot longer and a lot harder and compromise your personal life and your family and friends' life? Unless you have your own business, I don't see why that is a necessity, right? So that's my take on it. Any other thoughts, any other comments? I don't like to say do this and do that, because I don't think that's up to me. I'm happy to make judgment calls, and I'm happy to sort of just ramble on in terms of what I think is the best thing to do. But I think that most of these things are very, I try and focus on the career and confidence related issues and not delve into personal issues, because we absolutely have a million things that influence our decisions on a day-to-day basis. Emma, did you have any questions? Did you want to talk about something in particular? Yes, go on then. So I'm just waiting for her to type it up. So not just blank, not gone crazy or anything yet. And I'm hoping that my sarcasm comes through some of these videos. So Emma feels that she's struggling with differentiating personal and career confidence sometimes, which happens to all of us, especially when we are so head deep down into our careers. Yeah, that's because she's still typing. That is very interesting, and I will read it all out when she's completed typing. So Emma, what do you mean by your career intertwines with your personal? And I'm assuming she's typing. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that the whole scenario, Emma, or do you have more to tell us? If that's the whole scenario, just yeah. So right, so far what Emma has written is that she's struggling with differentiating personal and career confidence sometimes because her career intertwines with her personal success. And so I think that's the full question. So basically her career intertwines with her personal life, and her personal achievements are around building a successful business and providing services to other business areas, which is her career. So how do I distinguish it? Right. So Emma, everything that you've written there, in my opinion, has to do with your career confidence, right? So you being happy at career, loving what you do. I'm in the same boat at the moment with my technology business, etc. I love what I do, and I sometimes forget how many hours I have spent working, helping people, etc. I mean, take this webinar as an example, right? So what I try to do is I carve out my personal time every morning, every night, sometimes even during the middle of the day, to literally do things that are personal to me. Meditation. I love meditation. I do that. Or listening to music, or going and seeing my family, and making time for my friends. When I'm doing that, I am purely focused on that, and I do not even think about work. And so this exercise will be very, very useful to you, because if the points that come up in your confidence are related to professional success, then you need to take a step back, or take 2 steps back maybe, and really think about Emma, right? Really think about the questions I said. Who am I? What do I like? How do I define myself? Because right now, how you would define yourself, and I may be wrong, but mostly how you define yourself is not by who you are as a person, but by what you do professionally. I am a businesswoman and I do XYZ, right? So yeah, so that's exactly what's happening. So what you need to do, literally, if you're sitting at a desk right now, I'd say get up. I know it sounds crazy, but please do it. Just get up, take 2 steps back, literally take 2 steps back, look at your work, and then say, that's not me. My identity is not my work. My identity is me. So who am I? What do I like to do? And one of the best practices is, and I will stress this, is internal dialogue correction. So every time someone asks of you personally, so Emma, what do you like to do? Let's say you've gone on a date, right? And so Emma, what do you like to do? If you say, oh, I love helping people on their business, etc. That's a business. What do you like to do? But Emma, what do you like to do personally? I like to play tennis. I like to watch movies. I am a cinema freak. Whatever it is, define Emma. Find Emma. Am I making sense? I don't want to scare you off into thinking you don't know yourself. Of course you do, because if you did not know yourself, you wouldn't be on this session. So you do know yourself. You know what is the right thing there, right? So, and what I will suggest is, please make this list. Make this list and tell me what actual results are, so how many points you have for each of those 4 quadrants. And then what are you going to do to change that? Because I doubt, and I was like you about 2-3 years ago as well. I was all professional, like my achievements were professional. Yes, you ramble on about what you are in relation to your career because you're so passionate about it, and there's nothing wrong with it. You're so passionate about it, you love it so much, and I'm like you, I've done that. But what has really also helped me is to meditate, is to, become more mindful of my surroundings, of my conversations. Because Emma, at the rate with which you are going, if your professional life became you will burn out. And maybe in your 40s, you're going to start thinking, who am I? What did I do? I did all of that. And because I'm going to tell you this, your professional drive comes from some sort of a deep-rooted pain as well. That's why what you do, like what I did, is literally focus everything on academics and on professional achievement instead of enjoying my life a little bit, instead of understanding me, right? So you need to find out who Emma is. You need to start uncovering some of the painful truths in terms of why do you hide yourself in your business, in your work. I'm not saying you don't love it. You love it. Of course, you love what you do. But you are hiding in that to avoid something else, personally, is my opinion. Thank you. That is very sweet of you. I don't mean to make you cry, but I just know when I started on this journey a couple of years ago, I literally, especially this year, has been huge in trying to change my perspective, because I have been in tears sometimes for not knowing what is wrong. But it's nothing's wrong professionally. It's all personally that sometimes we hide in our work to avoid the personal challenges. Just like sometimes we hide in our friends and family and drinking and booze, when some people choose to do that. Some people do drugs for the same reasons as we're running away from something instead of facing it. And some strong women like us, we go and build a career and build a business yet feeling empty inside. So you really, really need to give yourself a lot of love, and figure yourself out. And I hope this is helpful. I would definitely suggest to start following Marissa Peer. She does rapid treatments and stuff like that, and she has done a few videos as well on YouTube, etc. that would hopefully prove to be very useful to you. And just put it on a mirror or something, like she says. Say, I am enough, and say that to yourself, even if it looks a bit silly. Just do it, and remember, always check your internal dialogue with yourself. Okay. I will share her details with you afterwards as well. There are a couple more women that I know do loads and loads of work online. They're very popular as well. So I'm going to share those details as well with a clip from this webinar. So brilliant. It was lovely to have you here. Thank you so much. And I will see you next month at the end of the month on Friday. And I'll do better with the links next time. Thank you. Bye.